primary election night across Arkansas. Winners have been decided in a number of statewide races. We'll have the latest on who's moving on to the statewide races in November across the state. We begin with the Arkansas primary election results. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 10. I'm Darren Bobb.
And I'm Erica Thomas. Arkansas voters have now determined the nominees for the November general election, including in the race for Arkansas governor.
Yeah, both the GOP and the Democratic Party have nominees tonight in the race for governor on the GOP ticket. No surprise here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders will head to November, beating her opponent, Doc Washburn.
5 News reporter Michael Wilson has been following this race and joins us now with the details. Micah?
Yeah, Darren and Erica, the Associated Press calling those races for both Sanders very quickly. And we also know that Chris Jones will be the runner for the Democratic opponent in November. Now, if Sanders does win that election, she would become Arkansas's first female governor. Sanders really kicked off her campaign season across the natural state in September fairly early. Now, she has a history of politics, of course. Her dad, Mike Huckabee Sanders, is the former governor of Arkansas, and he attended her watch party tonight. Now, she was also the former White House press secretary who was heavily favored in the primary after shattering fundraising records and blanketing the state with ads focused on national issues. And around 8:30, about an hour before the polls closed, the race was called for her. And here locally in Washington County, as of 8:30, she had 81% of the vote. And whenever she took the stage for her speech, she did make a few jokes, but mainly thanked her staff and Arkansans for their support.
We love the people of this state, and we want to see it be successful. We want to see it thrive. Frankly, I'm tired of watching Arkansas be at the bottom in so many places that I know we deserve to be first.
And on the Democratic side, Chris Jones is the projected winner. He has separated himself from the rest of the field, polling very high among Democratic voters, according to our content partners, Talk Business and Politics, earlier this month. His race was called for shortly before 9 tonight, and during his speech soon after, he discussed plans of PB&J, that's preschool, broadband, and jobs. He also announced that he will launch his Walk a Mile in Your Shoes campaign, touring each county in Arkansas. Jones says he is wanting to differ from past candidates.
I'd commit myself to spreading PB&J to all Arkansans. Why? Because Arkansans are tired of the politics of division and fear.
And Jones will face Libertarian Ricky Dale Harrington Jr., as well as Dan Nelson, Elvis Presley, Jason Tate, and Michael Woodward, who are all independent candidates. Michael Wilson, 5 News.
As Micah mentioned, Sarah Huckabee Sanders will head to November with Chris Jones. Jones, the Democratic candidate, who took 71% of that vote, avoiding a runoff with those 4 other candidates.
Now, in the race for lieutenant governor for the Republican Party, there were 6 candidates running tonight. Current Attorney General Leslie Rutledge is leading that field. If we can take a look at those numbers, with 54% of the vote at latest count, that's now up to 55%, and a big lead over her current closest challengers. And there will be a Democratic challenger in November, as Kelly Kraut is the only declared Democrat running for lieutenant governor. Kraut is a lifelong Arkansan, has lived in Northwest Arkansas for 17 years. Now, current Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin will be moving on to the November race for Arkansas Attorney General tonight. Griffin is in the lead in that race as well. Let's see if we can take a look at those numbers, leading Leon Jones Jr. there with 86% of the votes. He'll be moving on to that race in November. Now, taking the ticket for the U.S. Senate in the Democratic Party tonight, Natalie Jones taking the lead with 53% of the votes, closer there to her challengers, but again above that mark to head into a runoff. Now, she'll be facing incumbent Senator John Bozeman, who will head into the November election to face off against James for that seat.
Race for the next judge in Washington County, both parties having multiple candidates running, hoping to move on to November. For the Republican Party, this is the U.S. Senate race. If we could look at the Washington County races right now, 4 candidates running tonight. They will move tonight. Well, there are Mark Scalise with 34%. Looks like he will be, as it stands now, in a runoff with Patrick Deakins, who I believe is a quorum court member. Scalise with 34% of the vote, Patrick Deakins with 25% of the vote. Two candidates ran for the Democratic Party. If we can look at the Democratic Party there, Josh Moody defeating Charles Ward. Moody with 70% of the vote, Ward with 30% of the vote. It appears the next Washington County Sheriff is going to be Jay Cantrell, easily beating Jovi Mel Marshall tonight. 86% of the vote for Jay Cantrell. Marshall with 14% of the vote.
5 News reporter Catherine Gilker was there as the candidates watched those votes come in. She joins us live now with the latest. Catherine?
Sheriff's race will be decided tonight, and as of now we've only seen the early voting numbers, but those numbers are showing that Jay Cantrell is ahead. We're here at his watch party where they are awaiting the rest of the results. Jay Cantrell has been with the Washington County Sheriff's Office for 41 years, starting in the jail and working his way up to his current position as Chief Deputy. His opponent, who I spoke to earlier, is Jovi Mel Marshall. Marshall worked at the Washington County Sheriff's Office for 7 years, starting in 1993.
Are a good indication. They feel good to me. History has kind of shown that the early vote percentages typically hold pretty close through the rest of the voting. So we're excited to see where we're at, and it feels good. And we're hoping that the trend continues, that they get the rest of the votes in, they get them tallied, and that we're the victors. But it feels good right now.
Well, now here at the watch party, there's a lot of excitement as more results are coming in favor of Jay Cantrell. I'm live in Washington County covering news where you live. Catherine Gilker, 5 News.
All right, Catherine, thanks. Let's head down to Sebastian County and the race for Sebastian County Judge there. Steve Hotz is the apparent front runner. You can see with 52% of the votes. There are no Democratic candidates in this race, so the winning Republican will officially take office in January, skipping over the November general election. Again, this is close, with that 50% margin being the threshold for runoff, but at this point it appears Steve Hotz will win that race.
Yeah, and if a few votes here and there will change that to where there could be a runoff between Hotz and Denny Altis, but as it stands right now, as you said, Hotz would win that race and become the next Sebastian County judge. As results are coming in, we are hearing from the front runner tonight. 5 News reporter Ian Taylor joining us live in Fort Smith with more about that race. Ian?
We're at one of the 32 polling locations here in Sebastian County where 3 candidates are all vying for the position of Sebastian County Judge. Current Sebastian County Judge David Hudson is not seeking re-election. Denny Altis, Jeff Turner, and Steve Hotz have been campaigning for the position. Altis served in the House of Representatives from 1999 to 2003 before representing Senate District 13 from 2003 until 2011. Altis has also served 2 stints with the Sebastian County Quorum Court. Turner is the current Emergency Management Director for Sebastian County and is a retired criminal investigator and served in the Secret Service. Our current front runner is Steve Hotz, with the current county treasurer. He is the current county treasurer and collector with over 32 years experience in private business. We caught up with Hotz, who has this to say about his early lead.
I feel good. I knew we were running a good campaign and always felt we were the front runner. And the numbers are showing that, so I'm optimistic we'll carry out tonight that way.
Now, results are still coming in here in Sebastian County, and it's quite possible, as Darren mentioned, this race could go to a runoff. You can keep it on 5newsonline.com for updates and go to the Arkansas Primary 2022 tab for more information. Live in Fort Smith, covering news where you live. Ian Taylor, 5 News.
All right, Ian, thanks. Now we're keeping track of all of the races happening throughout the area, including in Crawford County.
Now, according to county leaders there, they're having some trouble tonight. County leaders, they have not had any votes counted because there are some technical difficulties at the courthouse there in Van Buren. It will take longer to get those results in. Now, the cause of that technical issue is not quite known at this time.
Of course, we're going to continue to monitor the results right here, and we'll bring you updates as soon as they become available.